and he was involved in the Republican committee, and this is just strictly not about politics, just to give you background. And I said, why the heck are you doing that? You know, I was somebody who worked 3 jobs, I wasn't involved in politics until I bought our building here in Hyde Park, and it needed, you guys remember that building needed a tremendous amount of work. And you would go, you know, to the zoning and planning, and they would tell you that, oh, well, you have to do this, this, and this, when you already thought you had everything completed, and then they meet once a month. It was just kind of like, felt like a broken system, so that's what kind of spurred me to get involved, and I love helping people, even going through that whole crazy town board time, which, you know, if anybody knows, we were all the same party, but the guys kind of, you know, danced to the beat of their own drum, which was not my tune. So, having said that, went on to, from the town board, I went to the county legislature. I voted against an energy tax that they had put in. Are people familiar with that? Back in 2012, I know Colleen, you weren't even in then. It was an energy tax, and we were just coming out of the recession, and our own party did it, and it was a tax on heat, any source of heat, could be wood, coal, gas, whatever. I said, you can't do this, like, that's gonna hurt folks, you know, and for me, it was always about our senior citizens, and somebody said, oh, just tell them to put a sweater on. Bad answer. So I voted no, along with 2 of my other colleagues, but I was the one that got picked on. They took me off of every committee I was on, and they put me on fishing game. Go figure. So from there, you would think, oh, she had enough of this between town board and legislature. The Senate came and asked me to run, and I was like, be careful what you wish for. Because, you know, people expect you to fight against opposition. They don't know how difficult it is to, you know, go against something that somebody's saying that, yeah, might be good for their district. It's a big state, but it might not be good for my district. So I always fought for our district. So that's a little bit of background, but I want to especially thank the Hyde Park Library for doing this. This is really important, and it's great because people don't know what we do. You know, like even with with Brad Kendall coming here, I think that's great because people don't realize like all of the different offices, locations that we have, and the good work that they do. So I think it's really going to be very informative. And of course, I love being the first one since I live here in Hyde Park for a long time now. It's very, very special to me. Let's see. Oh, and, you know, and as you know, like in 22, when they did the redistricting of the state senate, they actually had 3 different districts for me to run. The first one was great, and they said, oh, we figured, you know what, you're a shoo-in, let's give you this district. Then others got involved, I got a new district, then I had 3 new counties, I didn't know anybody, and they put Michelle and I against each other, and Michelle and I worked together, so that was really difficult. So I said, one door closed and a better one opened. I absolutely love being back home in the county legislature and being able to do things, real things that affect people's lives, because so much of the stuff gets stuck in the mud up there. But just like right now, you know, we have a very hot summer, right? Our summers are only going to get hotter. So what can we do? Because we're like, libraries are great cooling centers, but they're not open all the time. So I said, well, why can't we provide an air conditioner? It could be just for a room, it could be a bedroom, living room, wherever somebody chooses, 65 and older, health related and income related, but we're also keeping track of all the people that call, because there could be somebody that's off by just a little bit, because you hear those stories, so we want to make sure that if there's a way to help them, we can. So they'll have a way to cool off in these hot summer days. So we just started that. That's not something that I could have done, right, Colleen? When we talked about it, we did it, right, with the community benefit fund that we had. So that was really nice. Just looking to see my notes, because I'm not good at tapping myself on the back, but I just want to see the things that we got done. So, sorry, I skipped through all of this. Okay. And so I'm going to explain to you now what the county executive actually does, because a lot of people don't know, but it's really like being a CEO of a company, because we have 1,700 employees, we have so many different departments many different areas, a $600+ million budget. The departments that we have handle everything from mental health, public transit, to emergency services, which I'm sure you've seen in the news quite a bit, our parks, they're doing a great job, planning, child welfare, veterans affairs, and really so much more. And as county executive, I get to oversee all of that. And it's a job that really requires vision when you think about it, but it's also daily problem solving. We're calling so many things come up through the course of the day, and you're like, oh my, what's next? But it's great. I love a challenge, and it's been really wonderful. Like, the one thing when I first got elected, I said public safety, that's EMS too, emergency response. It's so important. And there are a lot of folks that don't know that sometimes an ambulance takes a long time to get there. And it was a situation that I heard about in Pine Plains. There was a young man who had a heart issue, and it took, I think, 40 minutes for the ambulance to get there, and sadly he passed away. So we said, we've got to take action. And so we allotted $2 million in the budget to work with, and we're working with Empress. So we have 2 ambulances, which are basic life support, and a fly car, which carries a paramedic, so it's a vehicle that is somebody that is a life-saving ALS. So they're in that, and they're spread across the county, and they are supplemental. So they're not there to take the place of volunteers. We don't want to hurt our volunteers. We rely on our volunteers. Our volunteer fire departments actually save the state $3 billion a year. It's amazing, and people don't realize, all the good work that they do. Let's see. So with that, also we did a fly car grant, and provided, so for a fly car, it could be like a chief's vehicle that they let us put decals on the back to say that we are going to, because part of that $2 million is to pay for people to go to school, either to be an EMT or a paramedic, that they would get a scholarship, but also to apply for like a life-saving device, like a Lucas machine, which actually does chest compressions. And I knew New Hamburg, because I think it was Bill Beal's department, just got one, and right away they were able to use it and save somebody's life. So that's phenomenal. And a lot of people still didn't know about that. So, we're working on getting that message out. And I think the second fly car grant just went out.
Yep, so more departments can take advantage of it.
Yeah, and that's good, because we had like 10 departments, I think, take advantage of it.
Yeah.
And it was really important. And also, now we're doing a social media campaign. You'll see the billboards that are gonna go up too. And it's starting a message to go along about when to call an ambulance and when not to. You can't believe some of the stories we hear. People call for a sunburn, right? It's not good, but it happens, yeah. And also they think if they go in an ambulance, they're gonna get into a room right away. That is not true. And if you go into our emergency rooms now, you'll see like people just all over. It's a lot. And then the other thing is, right now, so response times are improving, so lives are being saved. 71% of the priority 1 calls are now being responded to in under 9 minutes. That is the industry standard. Previously, it was only 67%, so we're making changes. There are those that'll say, oh, well, you should have put $5 million or $4 million. But you know what, that would be irresponsible, because we didn't have the data. So for me, it's all about data and numbers, so we're tracking it from January, from January of this year through the end of the year. Every quarter, we track the data. We meet with the different regions so we can go over everything and say, okay, this is the good, the bad, and the ugly. Like, what can we do? Where do we need a little help? And it's really been working out. So that's on EMS. One of the first things that I also did was I separated health and mental health, because they were joined as one, and I felt like mental health kind of got like lost, right? And I lost my brother to suicide actually when I was here on the town board. In fact, it was when I think I had just gotten elected, and I always felt like my brother kept me going. But so we separated that, and now they are actually getting the resources, because there's a lot of resources out there for mental health right now. The governor's taken a big interest in it, and it's been really good. And our kids especially, they need so much help. The other thing that we did, we allocated $250,000 to our You Without Walls. to help organizations build and improve safe, inclusive environments where young people can come together, find resources, and form meaningful, supportive connections. So before I was here, there was a plan for a building that was called the U, where the old Y used to be in the city of Poughkeepsie, but it was $140 million. That was a lot of money, and then they kept reducing it. It was still too much money. So we had to put it on pause and come up with a good plan. So in the meantime, I didn't want our kids to suffer and not have some resources. So with this money went towards giving the different community centers or wherever they had for like a community room for kids, whether it's bringing a TV or games or what have you, they would be able to apply for those grants. So it was great. And then with that too, we included $10,000 for the New Dale Creative Arts Center in Hyde Park to expand its theater, music and other programs that reach 100 children. This one I really love because seniors are near and dear to my heart. We created the county's first ever Office for the Aging ambassador. So we have an ambassador. Oh, thank you so much. Thanks. I know I keep like, oh, maybe I talked too much today. So the ambassador goes out to all of our senior centers. We have 8 friendship centers throughout the county, and they go in and talk to the seniors and see what the friendship centers need. And it's really like a very personal, and she's great, Mary, who's doing it. And we're also doing a campaign, Know Us Before You Need Us, because a lot of people don't even know what the Office for the Aging does, and they do so much. They have so many wonderful people that, can help caregivers, and, because that's typically who calls, are the caregivers, and they're the ones that they get a lot of guidance and the resources, so it's wonderful. We also, in Albany, I was known as a tick lady. So we installed new Lyme and tick-borne disease educational signs at the county parks this past May. And it was funny that is what they called me in Albany, because I was always talking about ticks. But I'm continuing to fight to protect our neighbors, so be sure to check them out next. When you go to any of our parks, you're going to see them. Like Quiet Cove, if anybody goes and plays pickleball or any of that good stuff, they'll see that. And you also notice that I put up new signs in our parks. They looked kind of cruddy, but they also had, I wanted them all to look the same, and they also had whoever the county executive was. So, we went through a couple recently, and I said, that's a waste of money. So I said, it's not my park, it's county park. So you won't see my name on any parks. Then we also launched a new round of Housing Trust Fund to help fund small, achievable housing projects that will really be the best to blend into our communities. We're going to be announcing those awardees very shortly, and I really can't wait to see these projects come to life. So just a few weeks ago, we also celebrated the grand opening of the very first project awarded by the Housing Trust Fund to open its doors. It's a 3-unit building in the city of Poughkeepsie, and all of the tenants are actually from the city of Poughkeepsie. The builder was from the city of Poughkeepsie. It was pretty amazing, so that was nice, and he just applied for another one. And my thought process is, because a lot of times they'll build like big apartment buildings, and we can give some money towards that, but also when you think about the eastern part of our county, and I always bring it back to where I live, we don't have a sewer yet. In the eastern part of the county, they might not have water or sewer. So if we could help fund a small builder to put up like a 3 or 4 family and make them affordable, that is something that we're working on. And this guy was a true testament to that and helping to spread that message. I talked about the air conditioner program. People can just call our office. Hyde Park Library. You were able, did you purchase a new air conditioner? I know we helped out with the repair.
We put a patch on this one because we're changing the system in a couple months.
Yeah, but see, now I wouldn't have been able to do that up there. I could call and say, listen, I need $2,000 to help the library, and I was able to do that. So
yes,
that was a really good feeling. Also,
central air?
Do
Do you have central air?
We do, but our system is old and failing.
The other thing too, like I always learn things. So during the campaign, I talked to Lisa Terracone from Accounting Resources. Colleen is our communications director, and Riley in the back started with us as an intern, and now she works in communications. So we've got a great team. But Lisa told me that she's in a wheelchair and she can't get into like even buildings that just have a little step. And go to like even go to Beacon, go to some of those stores, you know, all around. My own real estate office. And this is what made the light bulb come on. Sorry. My mom, through the years, she worked for me for 8 years after she retired from IBM. But then when she got older and she had hip problems, I had to put a bar in so she could grab onto it and step up. But if she was in a wheelchair, it would have been really difficult because I've got a big step. So we started the Think Accessible program, and we're going to be announcing the first round of certification winners. So what it is a business can apply for help with making them become accessible. And then we'll put a sticker in their window, and I'm not sure if we designed the sticker yet, Colleen. Oh, we did. Sorry. Oh, that was a sticker that just came through.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm sorry, I don't have one.
No, I didn't think about bringing one. But it's nice because somebody can go up to the window and say, oh, I can just call or whatever. It helps, they know that they're able to get a hold of somebody, and whether it's a removable ramp or whatever the case might be, they can help them get into that business. And so, and these businesses are making a real commitment to doing that to make their facilities more accessible. We're also going to soon be launching our new in-home childcare grant that will provide funding to new or existing in-home childcare providers to expand their capacity, to ultimately create more slots available for working parents and caregivers. So part of my background, way back when, I was married, divorced, young baby, I said, what am I gonna do? I opened up a daycare, I got certified with Dutchess County, opened up a childcare in my home, so I took care of kids during the day. My mother took my son at night while I waitressed and managed a restaurant in Wappinger, so I wore a few different hats. But it was a great way for me to stay home with my son and also take care of other people's children. And it was nice, just a couple years ago, one of the young girls I took care of, she was like 3 years old, her grandmother had custody of her. I would have never recognized her. She came up to me and she said, Sue, I'm Allie, you used to babysit me. And I said, oh my God, what a great story. And it was just nice, and she was going on to be a nurse, so it was really wonderful. So if we can help some of these folks have in-home childcare, it makes it more affordable for families, and it's nice to have that setting too. And then with the mental health, we also, through our new 988 public awareness program, we're going to make sure our neighbors know where to turn in a crisis. They can just call 988, and we have dedicated people answering that phone line. And we're also going to be sharing more information on the different services and resources that are available locally that you might not be aware of. Affordability and housing are two of the most talked about issues, no matter what age you are. And they also are two of my biggest priorities. I talked about the Housing Trust Fund. We're going to be expanding that. And that'll be from the Airbnb tax, so it'll be about $1 million a year that is going to go towards that trust fund and to develop affordable housing all throughout the county. And we're looking for new and out-of-the-box ways that we can make the cost of living here more manageable. And one of my favorite things in the state senate was being able to find ways to support our local libraries. So, which is why we will soon be launching a new grant for our libraries to expand their purchase of ebooks, and we'll continue to make this a budget priority for the year ahead, because apparently that wasn't done, or maybe it was done years ago, Colleen, I don't know about the county being able to give money to the libraries, but that was something when I was in Albany, it was the greatest thing that we could do. In every library, it didn't matter if it was $1,000. Meanwhile, you could be getting $200,000 from somebody else. They don't say thank you. It's the libraries. Every one of them would be so appreciative because they really, every dollar went to something good. And what was quite interesting, so here's a little politics 101 too. In Albany, we used to, I was new up there, we would get our allotted money. Well, I didn't know that they weren't giving the other side money until things changed. And I said, oh my God, we're not getting library money anymore, even that? And I talked to Andrea Stewart Cousins because I had a nice relationship with her, and she went into the whole thing about how Republicans did this to us. A lot of sour grapes, and I checked with a friend of mine, Senator Pam Helming, and she said they still don't do it. But none of my colleagues, unless you were at the top, knew, because I talked to some of the older senators. I said, did you know that that was done? Like, why aren't, like, that's for the communities. Everybody should be getting that, you know? whether you wanna give smaller pockets of money or whatever, but just to go stop was not a good thing. And you know, one of the most powerful things that I've learned over the years is that you don't need a big fancy title or a big platform to make a difference. You just need to care and to show up, and that's really true. And that's why I do this job every day. It's why I continue to do this job, and as long as I have the privilege of serving everybody. So, thank you for being here tonight. I guess I'll open it up to any questions or ideas that anybody has too. I don't know if anybody has ideas. Yes?
Can you tell us anything about the bus system? Is that done at the county level?
Yep, we have the transit system, and they just did a whole new route. I learned something there too, because that is very involved with doing a new route. I forgot, what is the person called that,
The transit administrator?
nope,
Yep.
that draws the,
The route cutter,
yeah.
which is a weird word. It doesn't mean
Cutter?
you're cutting routes.
Yeah.
Yeah, a cutter,
Yes.
but it means like how you cut up a route for stops.
So it's really.
Because I thought it was such a
difficult
deceptive
putting
name.
that together, so that's why they did all of the public forums to make sure that we were covering the bases. In fact, Colleen, you and I took the bus from Poughkeepsie up to Ramhook because we wanted to see, you know, what the usage was, who's getting on the bus. There were a lot of students, that was one of the lines that was due to be cut, so we made sure that that was preserved, so,
Yeah, for a lot of people, that's a critical
yes. Yeah, a lot
part of
people-
their lives,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, especially now when things being so, you know, not affordable, so it's a great way for people to be able to take the bus.
Actually, it's a great little field trip with youngsters too.
Yes. Oh, go on the bus?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's
You
true.
just have to figure out, the
Yeah.
cuts.
Yeah.
You know, where you're gonna get on and where you're gonna get off.
Yeah.
So, how is our budget looking for,
We're just working on the budget right now. Oh, that's a very daunting task.
traditionally, in the
Oh.
last bunch of years, we've done very well here in our budget.
But, so I'm gonna say this, Colleen, close your ears.
So, the reason I'm mentioning that, because on a state level, we're looking at a $35 billion deficit on our state level, as far as I could see, which is that's gonna eventually impact us.
Well, last year we had a $42 million budget gap. This year we have a $62 million budget cap. And what that means is all the departments put in their request. What happened through the years, like, people get a COLA, the cost of living, so it's 3%. If you don't, you have to take that into account when you're doing these budgets, and you can't reduce taxes or not bring them up a little, stay within that 2% cap. And that was what was done, and I kind of feel like doing a little bit along the way, you really need to, not to go above the 2%, because it's very difficult. All of those costs, we have 1,700 employees. Those costs go up, otherwise we have to cut services or lay people off. So, and we'll figure that out. It's just now, everybody, all of the departments put in their budget, you know, like what their budgets are and what they wanna do, and, you know, we're holding
Well,
vacancies.
what are we
and-
gonna do with the state? So the
Oh.
state is undermining us in this in this procedure here.
Yeah.
I
it's-
know you can't go up and shoot them,
no.
so what can you do?
Yeah,
The way you can do is the best you can do.
yeah, it's tough.
In the area of affordable housing,
Mhm.
do you mean affordable housing that's bandied about all over the place now? Do you mean for a person to be able to buy a home affordable or to rent?
Yeah, the buying a home to be affordable, like, years ago, I think it was President Obama
Yeah.
did the, first-time homebuyer program, where you got up to $8,000 in closing costs. That was a helpful program for first-time homebuyers. But for people, like, when you have, developers come in, and I'm of the mindset that, yeah, you know, like, if you build a big building, well, you know what, it's nice to have mixed, right? So you could have people that are considered affordable, workforce, right? So people always have something to see, you know, a little bit
Yeah.
up the line, right? Like, maybe it gives them some incentive, but not just to, like, make affordable housing and stick it one place. I think you really have to have that nice mix.
Well,
And that's the method behind the,
Well, some of the affordable housing thing, they talk about affordable housing, but they don't look at all the conditions or all the costs of building that.
oh,
They
it's
look at
very
the-
expensive.
Yeah, they look at the cost of the housing, but not of the water, the sewer, the land costs,
Yeah,
which is a large part of that.
right.
And I don't see offhand, on a country level even, that, and that is really taken into consideration in affordable housing. They talk, oh, we're just gonna give some money to a building, come up with it, you mentioned that before, come up with a solution. But the towns and the zoning departments have to be involved in that whole process.
Oh, absolutely,
they're up
because the
here saying-
process,
Yeah.
like, that's why I got involved in the first place. That process is too long, and not that, you know, like when you have these secret processes, it's a long time and a lot of money. You can get a developer that puts $100,000 in the dirt and not have anything done yet, and that's even pretty reasonable, 100,000,
So
and it could
what
take
can you do-
years.
What can you do about that?
That's what some of those changes need, like, we have our county planning department, and we've talked about that, like, we don't have any control over the different municipalities, but it would be nice if there were some changes made to make things a little bit easier.
In the zoning departments and stuff like that, even down here on River Road, if you do any building or do anything within a half a mile of all the nonprofits that we have here, and they seem to have kind of control on a lot of that stuff, that's a scary thing. But we're being, in some respects, controlled by people that pay no taxes. That's kind of scary. And we
So
got a
did
lot
you
of-
talk
about the Millennium?
Does the county executive have, meetings like with Albany? I mean, like, is it just insular to the county, or
No,
do you?
no, I mean, you know, and that's what's great, like, my first month and a half in, the governor's office had a meeting with me, and they had not done that prior, you know, because I was up there, had a relationship, and, you know, so it was important that we have that relationship, so we can find out when different grants come through, and,
Right.
you know, different, like, for me, it was back in 2016, I think, when we were doing the budget. I made sure that we put $100 million in the budget for, specifically thinking with Hyde Park in mind, for sewer. Each municipality could, get up to, I think it was
We almost
10
got it.
million. Almost, yeah. Well, they're working on it though. I have to meet with Al to find out where they're at. But it's very expensive to do
Yeah.
those projects, but it makes all the difference. Like, people are like, well, why don't we have stores in Hyde Park? Rhinebeck has everything. Well, they have sewer, right? So hopefully, I mean, it's,
It's a-
I know they're
it's a tough
working on it.
road, but I'm bringing it up not to give you a hard time
Oh,
about
yeah,
it,
no,
but
no.
I'm sure you're,
Believe me, I know. I've heard it through the years. It's frustrating.
like, I have property that I wanna do something like that on, but the cost of just starting it and going forward with it is
Yeah.
so prohibitive that I know that, on the state level and on the, federal level, they got all these different programs and everything like this, but they're all
Yeah.
tied down with different things. There's so many conditions and everything, they don't make it easy.
It's hard, you know, that's another thing I did when I first came in. We didn't have a grant writer. So I hired a grant writer because I figured, like, maybe other municipalities are taking advantage of those great grants that are out there. We might as well too. It's all of our taxpayer dollars. So, so we did that, and that's been very helpful, getting grants.
It's a tough road.
Yeah.
Very
Sorry.
tough road.
Sorry.
I know that. But I do wanna bring
So,
it
so
up.
talking
Thank you.
about all the various things that you have your hands in, if you come back to what is the general role of the county administrator, are you like the person that meets with each of these, like each department has its own, you know,
Yes.
infrastructure,
Mhm.
and you are the person that they go to
Yeah, we
to
have
bring it
to
all
part-
together? Are
Yeah.
you considered, like the supervisor of the town is supposed to be the fiscal manager of the town?
Yep.
That's the primary.
See, this is
So
the
where,
same thing.
where does the county executive?
I meet with all the department heads, we meet in, I started something, we used to meet with all of the department heads in one room, so they only got a little bit of time to tell us what was going on. They said, well, listen, why don't we do, like, DPW, you know, Department of Public Works, and planning, and, the other department with DPW.
Health.
Right, to
Social
have that,
services.
a smaller group, and then it was great because they actually learned from each other.
Mhm.
So it was really good, and so that's what we've done, and then we'll do like the large meetings so everybody can get together and find out, like, maybe somebody's got a bit of news that they wanna spread, so they'll do that.
Well, one of the problems that I see is, like, right now, we're talking about the forever chemicals, which I'm sure you're aware of. And, the state and Department of Health here in Dutchess County has to do what the state tells them to do. The state doesn't have to do what the feds tell them to do. They can go in their separate ways, and the forever chemicals looks like it's a bigger and bigger problem going forward. And there's, so I, as a person that's done developing and things, work with our Department of Health on a county level, they are no help at all.
That's terrible.
It's terrible. What I'm talking about, if you got a problem, don't talk to us. We're gonna give you the problem, and we're gonna make you, we'll call you up and tell you what you, they won't tell you anything what you can do. What they will tell you, you better fix it like right away. With no absolute help in it. I haven't found the Department of Health in Dutchess County to be of any help at all in anything other than being a dictative source to, you gotta do this, or we're gonna fine you know what the fine is? $25,000 a day.
20, what?
$25,000 a day.
25,000 a day?
25, yes.
Now, that's the first time I ever heard that. I've heard
It's,
that.
they don't do it, they
Oh,
don't do
that's
it,
all I
but
was
they
gonna
threaten
say,
it,
yeah.
and every letter they send, you do this, or it's $25,000 a day.
That's-
Yeah,
that's
it's
crazy.
terrible.
Well, one of the other first things I did when I started here is I sent out an email to all 1,700 employees talking about kindness and respect, and not just with, you know, like, of course, you would hope that they're being kind to their people that they are working with, but to the public. Like, because how often do we hear, I'm here from the government,
At
and
least be
too bad,
informative.
right? We don't want that. They have to be helpful, and people are telling me that they're noticing a change. I still have a little bit of struggle. That was one of the reasons too, to separate health and mental health. There are some other things that I can tell you I'm working on right now, so, but I never heard
Like the forever chemicals.
Mm.
It's gonna be a big push. The state has a level that is much more prohibitive than the federal government. And because we got Lee Zeldin in head of the EPA now. And, he's more receptive to doing different things. But before that, when Obama was here, it was so restrictive. If you had a little hole in your backyard, they could fine you a huge amount, and they've done that. Everyone's heard that story of somebody wanting to build within eyesight of a lake, and they got all kinds of grief over it. Finally, it was settled at a huge cost to them. But this is, so a lot of these departments per
That's why
se.
I'm glad I'm not there. They asked me to run for Congress years ago, and I said no. And then my teams had me fly out there, and I was like, oh, this
Well,
is
the overall
not for
thing,
me.
the overall thing I wanna get to, like the
Yeah.
Department of Health, instead of being a prohibitive thing, how about trying to be a
It should be
help?
helpful,
That's
absolutely.
exactly what
Well,
I'm
that's my
talking about.
message that I'm gonna take back. I am
Okay,
making changes
got
there,
it.
I can tell you that, without saying too much, but I
Okay.
am making changes, because I've heard some things that.
But all
it's
this
supposed to be
comes
helpful.
together with affordable housing.
Mhm.
It's
Our
always-
planning department is working with us on the affordable housing. Owen Rafter, right, Colleen, is wonderful to work with. Oh, did you?
Okay.
Oh,
So
Sorry
I
to take up the.
I have a question, and then
Sure.
I'd like to open it to everybody
Okay.
to ask questions.
Sure.
Where do you see the county in 10 years, and what do you think it will take to get there?
Oh, wow. You know, I think day to day, even with my schedule, I don't look at it beyond a day because it's too overwhelming. If anybody that knows me knows that I tell my husband, he asks me where I'm going, I say, follow me on Facebook. Except now I think he's a little happier. I'm in the office, like literally, right, Colleen? All day, we're going through every issue, budgets, like, it's fascinating. I feel like I've learned so much. And in 10 years, I'm hoping that things keep moving. We're trying to do good things. Like, you might have heard about the homeless shelter in the city of Poughkeepsie, right? That's something else I came into that I did not ask for. In fact, I was up at the Hillcrest House, which is in Webster, which is homeless housing at the psychiatric center, talking to the governor's office about maybe getting some money to maybe make that bigger there and move folks out of the city of Poughkeepsie for a variety of reasons, right? I am of the mindset to have people, like, when you go to our pods, beyond, first of all, they're disgusting, but also to go there, they don't even know how to run a washing machine, and they break them all the time. So they have to learn basic life skills. They've never gotten that leg up. A lot of the folks, there are people that of course have the mental health issues. But anyways, the day I'm up there with Yvonne Flowers, we were up there and we're like, oh, this will be great. Well, I get a call that the grant that I didn't apply for, not Marcus, but Bill O'Neill applied for, came through for $13.5 million. And guess what? It was in the city of Poughkeepsie in a building that nobody wanted. That nobody wanted it to be there, at least the folks in the city of Poughkeepsie. So we are making the best of it. We changed the numbers where it was going to be, I don't know, 140, 150. It's down to
Like 90.
90, folks, and there's gonna be security, but there's also gonna be rules and regulations. That's the other thing I did when I came in. Before I came in, December of '23, there were 160 people staying in the pods. Anybody could go in, no questions asked, so, cause there are people that get money. So like, okay, if you wanna, you should be able to pay a little bit too. It shouldn't be that it's all free, and that teaches people life skills. So now Sabrina, who is our Department of Family Services, she is simply amazing. I swear to God, we have to clone her. I wish I could for every department. But anyways, she now has instituted those rules and regulations. So like this past winter, we had 100 people. Because there were, so I had a friend that worked in the pods overnight, that worked at Office for the Aging, and so she would give me the scoop. And she said, Sue, it's not just 20% of the people that are from out of the area, it's closer to 30. I can tell you, they all come here, they say because it's all free, nobody asks any questions. And really that's not fair to all of the folks that live here that think about, once again, senior citizens or young people starting out that maybe could need a little help, but all of the resources are going in one place. So anyways, that is going to be built in about a year and a half, 2 years, but there are gonna be all kinds of things in place. That's good. That's why I'm glad I'm here.
Okay.
I like being back home, yes, I'm sorry.
I'm here because I'm interested in, yes, the whole county, but I
Yeah.
feel like the whole county is not pulling its all weight because I feel like the city of Poughkeepsie is bearing the brunt of the urban issue, considered urban issues, but really they are county-wide.
Yeah.
And I'm not clear on what you just said about, so I wanna see, for instance, the homeless be spread out. Every community should be adding to the solutions.
And I can tell you, wanna know the problem with that? It's called scattered housing. And there's transportation issues, but there's also a problem, like our Department of Social and Family Services is only so big, and even though there's like 400 people,
Right.
but those folks need services.
Right.
So if they're in a location, it's much easier to get them those services. It's really hard when it's scattered. Now, should there be maybe a north, south, middle location? Probably, it would make sense. And transitional housing is a part of this whole equation because
Right.
there are people that, yes, they started out as homeless and that's where Sabrina works with them and they go into transitional housing, which is great. They help them get jobs. From
Right.
transitional housing, they get them an apartment. That's so important so they can learn to be self-sufficient. And it's not for everybody because then you have our mental health issues. But that's the thought process behind having a location that you can get folks the services. And that's what we started with Honors is our team that's there.
Okay. The other issue that I'm interested in, and I know I came in late and I apologize,
No, that's
but,
okay, I'm sorry that you started.
you were talking about the old Y,
Mhm.
That's what
and I'm not clear on what the plan is now.
So we have a plan. I met with the mayor to talk about it with her. Yvonne and I have known each other for many years. And when I first came in, she even said, 140 million, 100 million, it's way too much money.
What is
So,
that for?
the-
To refurbish the site?
It would not be a Y, if it's not gonna be
No.
called a Y, it's
Right.
the U.
You.
So it would
Well,
have,
if I said that, I wasn't sure if I was
No.
using the right.
yeah,
Okay.
it's correct,
So-
Youth Opportunity Union.
Okay,
But, so there's a grant out there right now that we applied for, it's called the BRICS grant that the state did, up to $15 million. And it, you have to have senior services, mental health, youth, was there something else I'm missing, Colleen?
Those were the primary areas.
top
Okay.
three. So that's what this building would
Recreation.
be, it's on a smaller level, but as times get better, maybe things could be added upon. So we have a plan to do, I think it's $26 million to utilize that property. The mayor seems to like it, I met with a couple of the council members too. And it would be open, there's gonna be a big community room, which would be the full-size basketball court that could be used as a community room. So I think about, we talked about the summers, how hot they are now, and
right.
some of our summer picnics have had to be canceled. We could use that that community room for those picnics, right? So a lot of things that we can have multi-purpose, to work with them, and so.
So $26 million to refurbish the building?
No, that was
building's
taken
gone.
down, that building's
That's
gone.
gone.
But
Oh, yeah, that
to
was
build a
done.
building?
To
What,
build a
what does the
building.
$26 million do?
That builds the building, and, we'll have more details as we go along, but that's the building that's gonna supply those three services, primarily, but it'll also have a kitchen in there. There's gonna be a lot of different things. I didn't even think to bring the, diagram tonight, because it's not written in stone. Things always change a little bit, but the point
Right.
is, it's not 140 million, it's not 100 million, it's not 60 million. It's affordable, and folks can use it, so.
And all those figures you're throwing out from 140 on down was to redevelop the site, you're saying? That's
was
what
to
the,
Do what we're doing, to build a
Much more
building,
grandiose,
yes.
for a much more
Okay.
elaborate building.
has the site been, taken care of? Because I knew the building was
Yep.
demolished, but it was, overgrown and,
DPW's gone out there,
Okay.
our Department of Public Works, and they cleaned it up.
okay.
And it's like everybody else, no matter who you talk to, whoever is an employer, we are short-staffed. Our county, it's the same situation, and it's hard because they have to take care of all the different roadways that we have and cutting down the weeds, so it was difficult, so they fell behind a little bit there, but they
Okay.
did take care of it.
So the YOU is, project is defunct right now?
It's not defunct, we
It'll
just
just
put
be
this,
incorporated in with a senior thing and
yes, we just put
and a
this
community
plan
thing.
together and applied for the grant, and I think we find out about the grant in August, mid-August or September.
I'm not sure, I
Right.
feel, I wanna say
It's not
fall.
September. Yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like it's fall.
yes,
What was the cost of demolition and who foot that bill?
that was before I was here, and there was $25 million allotted to the whole, was that part of it? 'Cause
It was about $4 million
$4
to
million,
demolish it,
yeah.
the county paid for that as part of the agreement with the
Yeah.
city, so.
Did the city foot any of that bill?
No,
No,
The county?
because it's, yeah, the county acquired the property.
yeah, they transfer the
this.
ownership of the property.
Gotcha.
Yes,
I'm sorry, one more question.
sure.
The amount of money that was allotted to the Duchess Stadium,
Mhm. Again, I was not here for that.
right, just curious if there's some accounting. Do we see that that was money well spent, or what's the county getting out of it? What kind of information would be released about how that money was spent and how the county
We
is
get,
reaping the benefits?
we get rental money from, the organization that's there, so that comes in. I mean, that probably comes out
Yep.
it comes out in our budget, so.
Yep, the rental is in there, and then the Renegades, which is the
Yeah.
the ballpark, they often do, economic impact, studies. So they periodically do them, talking about the sales tax that's generated, the visitors that come in, the hotel benefit, all
Is
of
that
those
something
things.
we could email?
I don't know the most recent one, but yeah, I can.
Yeah.
That's generated from that organization.
Yes.
No, but
Is the county generating any information on their own? That's what I'm,
We're the landlord, so.
economic development though is part of a department in the county, right?
Yeah.
And are they assessing the information, saying, yeah, we feel like, oh, countywide, we received this benefit from that investment?
That, like I said, that was done before I was here. I might have done something differently, I don't know, but it was done before I was here.
Right,
And-
but
and
it's
like
there
a
and
rent-
it's here.
No, but it's a rental property that we're in a long-term lease with, so.
So that's what the benefit is. That's really all the benefit
Yes.
is. Okay, is the rental property.
Yeah, the rental, and then they generate funds, so. yeah. And it's great, I know a lot of people like going down there to the baseball games, so,
Expensive hot dogs.
oh.
Has the comptroller reported on the stadium at all?
I don't,
Yeah.
did he just
Mhm.
did something, right?
Yeah.
When was that?
I think he actually does something almost every couple years, I'm not sure. All of his audits and reports are on his website,
Thank you.
duchessny.gov.
That's-
And he'll be here next Monday.
That's
Yeah.
right, I was just gonna say, I'll ask the same question
ask
of
him.
him.
That's good. Roder, do you have anything?
Well,
questions I had were, I was interested in more detail on the U project and
Yep.
also on the homeless housing thing, so.
Yeah,
they've
so
been-
what do you think about those two things?
Well, on the U project, I was concerned that, it looked to me like the project had basically fallen by the wayside.
Mhm.
You have a piece of land there, but no forward movement in
Yeah.
terms of really supplying the facility. Not that I think it's necessarily the county's function to supply the facility, but there's needs in the city. And when the Y was there, it did serve, a good chunk of the population that could go there for programs and recreation, and I thought, that should be replaced.
Yeah, when I was in the legislature, because I was there too after the town board, there were kids that would come in and say, we just want someplace safe to go.
To play.
Right,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
that building can be that facility, which will be really nice, so, and at an affordable price. I mean, $26 million is still a lot of money, but if we're fortunate enough to get 10 or 15 million in a grant, that's great. And the services, when you think about like seniors, and then it's also gonna, we'll be covering, mental health too, which is something, as I've said, is near and dear to my heart, it's really important.
In that regard, the grant money that you're hoping to get,
Yeah.
that constructs a physical building.
Yes.
And you own the land.
Yeah.
But what about the budgeting for services and activities that would go on in there once it's constructed?
Yep, and we're talking about looking for an operator, so, because that could be a possibility to have an operator, just like if they have a childcare, because that was the original part of the plan, was to have childcare. And I think they wanted to do like a 24-hour childcare, which, it was hard to fit, because, when you think about it, it's right by the hospitals, there's a lot of doctors and nurses that work all kind of crazy hours, so.
Also, police and,
So, yeah, and what was the other thing?
Well, the other thing was about the housing. And
Housing, yeah.
I'm pleased to hear that something might be done with the building on the psychiatric property, because I think transportation is gonna be one of the biggest issues, because most of these folks are not in a position to transport themselves, so they've got to be near some form of public
Mhm.
transportation.
Yeah.
And it's gonna have to be subsidized to a certain extent, because they're just not in a position to move themselves around to, get a job or look for a job or.
And they also have to learn about those skills too, that's so important, I didn't take the traditional path. So that's why you see that I do all of these trades events, because I want kids to know that there's other options. We just did anybody here go to our elder skilled trades event at the Wallace Center?
Yeah.
Did you go? Okay. So the only thing is, I can say, is we had a lot of volunteer opportunities. We needed more jobs. And I think that people, maybe employers, didn't realize what the turnout was gonna be. There were 500 people in 2 hours.
Wow.
So in a way, that's kind of sad, because people older need a job to pay for things. But it's also good to know that that's something that we need to work on. So when we have our golden gathering in September at Arlington High School, we're gonna have one of the hallways, is it one hallway, Colin? Dedicated to jobs, for people to come, because I know people have come in hand with their resumes, and we just wanna give them an opportunity. But the volunteer opportunities are good too, because I met with the new, director of Habitat for Humanity, and my friend Jessica, who works for them. And when I was telling them about it, I go, do you guys wanna be there? And they said, oh my God, you don't know the skills that people that are retired have. They could be a build captain, you could be a great build captain. And, so it's a great opportunity, to work with those not-for-profits, and you never know what comes out of it, right? So, it's about opportunity. Yes, Richard?
Sue, thank you very much for coming, and
Thank
you're a busy person. Appreciate
I like
this.
being busy.
And your voice held up.
Yes.
You're at the top. People have opinions, they have concerns, they have thoughts.
Yeah,
So you're often contacted with those opinions, thoughts, and
Always.
et cetera.
yep.
How does
That's why I
that,
give my cell phone number out, much to my staff's dismay.
you notice I haven't called it.
But you can.
How do you get that information down through the hierarchy?
Mhm.
And how do you follow up on how well your departments are responding? to the questions that are coming to you.
That's good. I have a great team. So we have a few people that work on the emails with me, which is great, and then we go over things, so we know, like, if people each choose to email, they can. And then there are the folks that call me, and then I always say I'm the great connector, and that's really my job. I connect people to resources. So, it's great having those resources and send them to wherever they need to go. So, and that's important. People just want an answer, right? To be able to find out how they can get help. I hate all the division in the world that's going on right now. And that's why I said my first thing to send out to everybody was about kindness and respect. I am so sick and tired of people fighting, no matter who you are, where you are. That's why I said at the beginning, nobody can put me in a box about where I am. For me, it's all about helping folks. And that's the way it should be, because that's what we're here for. If you can't help people, like I say, as long as the good outweighs the bad, I hopefully can keep on doing this and keep my husband from retiring. He will call me constantly. Meet and talk about what we do and answer questions. I'm gonna give everybody my cell phone, my card, because I brought them with me, to pass them out. So, did anybody else have any other questions?
Make sure the Department of Health is kind to people.
Yes, they need to hear my message loud and clear. In fact, this year, we just, because we get the employees like a little tchotchke.
Yeah.
My tchotchke was a little, which I love, the bags that are like refrigerated, right, like to keep things cold, they're useful, important to be useful.
picnic.
Yeah, and,
Yeah.
well, we actually have the ones that have like the aluminum foil inside to keep things cold. So, and it says kindness matters. That's my message. But then some people will mistake my kindness for weakness. That's when they make a big mistake. I wouldn't have survived that town board if I was all that kind.
I wanted to say thank you for your kindness
Oh, thank
because
you, Lynn.
you, and I would say summation I find, and you can put in feedback, is that you're in charge of finances of the county.
Yes.
And the path of development,
Mm-hmm.
and I love the connector, being a
Yeah.
connector to services, so thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Thanks, Lynn. Thank you. I appreciate it.